Yo, what's good YouTube? It's boardzy, and this is going to be a review of the Gwolves HT-S2, the latest release from Gwolves, and a 34-gram scaled down version of the hati-S Plus. But this is very interesting because they really don't reduce the width of the mouse very much, but the height and the length are scaled down a very significant amount. If you look at it next to like the Atlantis Mini or the Sora V2 for claw grip, this is just an even smaller mouse. It does not have an incredibly high hump, so for my hands, it's just really more of a fingertip mouse, and for anybody with medium to large hands, I think that's where it's going to stand, because that's just not how this mouse is designed. If you want something that's going to be a bit more filling and be more stable, for claw grip, the hati-S Plus already exists. This is made for smaller hands, more aggressive grip styles. For me, I have to curl my fingers a lot, and even then, I'm still not really stable, whereas with fingertip, I actually can pull something off with a more, like, relaxed rocket jump ninja style of fingertip. And yeah, it kind of brings me to the next point, which is the weight of the mouse. 34 grams is extremely light, really only rivaled by the ULX Small and the WL Mouse Beast X Mini, but as you can see, there's just nothing going on towards the back of the mouse. Most of the weight is at this center area with the battery, but if you are somebody who grips like towards the back of the mouse, you probably will feel it being a bit front heavy. For me, how I fingertip, it was never an issue, and of course, if you are claw gripping, applying pressure like towards the back of the mouse, that's really not going to be an issue. But yeah, design-wise, it definitely does not have a perfect like center of gravity, but it's also not something that I found to be a negative of the mouse. And with build quality, you might be wondering, it does kind of look like a suspicious design, like there could be issues, but Gwolves was one of the first companies to actually use the PCB to support the sidewalls of the mouse, so that does result in the areas where you actually grip, like it feels rock solid, so it is an impressive solution for such a lightweight mouse. And in other areas where typically Gwolves would like kind of disappoint you, I don't have any quality issues. The clicks, as you can see, they're like rock solid seated in there. There's like very minimal wobble, just a little bit of pre-travel, but it does provide like a light, bouncy, pretty sharp click experience. These are Huano Blue Shell Pink Dots. On the site, they have it listed as Huano 60Ms, but I did open it up and I did confirm that these are Blue Shell Pink Dots. This is not a reviewer unit. I actually bought this for $100 secondhand. So this is pretty much the build quality that a customer would get, and this is just so much better than if you're somebody who in like 2020 you bought a wired hati-S, you just experienced that build quality. This is genuinely impressive. Now, the only thing to even nitpick is like this area right here with these cutouts. It is extremely flexy, but you're never, like, you don't apply pressure with your palm when you're aiming. That would impact that, so it's really a non-issue. The only thing I find kind of stupid with the design is just this single slit where I place my thumb. It's just like, does it need to be there? Absolutely not. But Gwolves, they just have to have one minor like dumb design thing, so I mean, I'll let them have it because the rest of the mouse really doesn't have many issues. And yeah, I just want to reiterate like how good the quality experience and tensioning is with the clicks on my unit. Like Gwolves really has figured something out, and a lot of the industry has swapped to like Omron opticals, but there's something about a nice mechanical switch that I find satisfying. There's not a lot of like total travel distance, and there's a quick rebound, but it's just sharp and crisp. Really like 10 out of 10 in my opinion. Just a sound test of all of the buttons. The side buttons are pretty good as well, and yeah, by that I mean they're okay. I'm not in love with the positioning, but the mouse is just a bit too small and crammed in general for me to like access them while claw gripping because of where I hit them with my thumb. But the real issue is not that they aren't like crisp or fast, it's just there is a lot of post travel and a little bit of movement on the both of the side buttons. It's more noticeable on mouse 4. So if you do like press them really hard into the shell, you probably will have some issues long term. So they should definitely tune that up. I mean, I guess like, yeah, now you see like it's getting pretty bad because I'm like intentionally fucking it up. But yeah, in my time just hitting them like straight on in game, I did not have any issues, but on a $140 mouse, you definitely do want them to tune it up, and they showed with the clicks that they can like get top level quality. So same should be done with the side buttons. I do think mouse 4 is a little bit high, but I don't see them adjusting that. With the scroll wheel, I don't have any issues with the wheel or the scroll wheel click itself, but I do find the wheel, maybe it's just the low profile nature of the mouse, but I do find it a little bit like small and not hard to access, but it's just low profile. It's just a night and day difference when I compare it to like the accessibility on the hati-S Plus, which just has a larger scroll wheel, a bit more aggressive texture. So I don't know how many people it's going to be an issue for. This mouse I really don't recommend for Fortnite with my hand size at least, because just accessing the scroll wheel isn't the easiest and hitting the side buttons isn't either, and it's just not a high profile back hump, so it just really misses all of the boxes. But as a fingertip mouse, this is pretty amazing. At first I wasn't really sold on the shape, but yeah, I've said so many times now, I prefer mice with flatter sides that don't really flare out too much for fingertip. But as I use this more, I came to appreciate that it's just kind of like a hati-S mini, which is a shape I used to love like many years ago for fingertip, and it is pretty flat, like from the grip width onwards to the front. So I really did appreciate this thumb curve on the left side. Like, it's something I just came to adjust to, and I avoid the curvature that I don't like on the right side by placing my fingers towards the front. So yeah, really this is the grip style that felt most locked in and worked for me and didn't have any bad weight balancing feeling. And overall, I just enjoy how low this mouse is compared to the other versions of the hati-S out there. And yeah, compared to the Gwolves fingertip mice, it's not even close. The hati-S2 is just way more usable for me personally. The HTR, I had experimented with the clay, but just the base mouse, the sides are just not accommodating for me or what I look for in a fingertip mouse, and the HSK is just too fucking small. I mean, it's like not even half the size of my fingers. It's just not a serious mouse. But yeah, the hati-S2, it does work very well for me, but it's in my like probably top 3 fingertip mice, but it's not something I'm going to be widely recommending to everybody. And yeah, there are only a few features left to cover on the hati-S2. I'm going to talk about the sensor now. It is using a 3395, but I do find the implementation to be very good. The Gwolves dongle, it does seem kind of susceptible to wireless interference, so I would recommend not having any other mice plugged in while you're using this. But just the sensor experience, like the wireless tracking, it all felt top tier. There's not going to be any issues with the latency, except for when you're under like 5 or 15% battery. Like the mouse, it just becomes fucking dysfunctional. It's very weird. And using the mouse wired, I didn't use it with the stock cable, but it didn't feel like the polling was nearly 1000 hertz either. So yeah, they need to do, like, I think they announced they will do a firmware update, because the mouse just stops like functioning normally. The sensor just starts tweaking out, like the clicks barely register. It makes no sense that like that happens, but at the same time it does let you know that you need to charge your mouse. But it did happen to me randomly once. I thought the sensor was like busted on this mouse, but when it was charged, I really didn't have any issues with stuttering, just any wonky things happening with the implementation. And the battery life seems respectable using it on 2000 and 4000 hertz. It seems like I got around 4 days of use before it blinked, and then I fucking knew that it was time to charge it. The only, like, one of the final like negative aspects to talk about is the coating, but it's really not a negative. I know it sounds like I'm shilling Gwolves, because I am normally a big advocate for like rubberized coatings, and this is what I would prefer for just an uncoated standard plastic finish. This is a really good one. You can see it like hasn't stained. It doesn't pick up too much moisture. It is just kind of like a dry, somewhat textured plastic feeling, and it's much better than like some of the standard plastic that Gwolves has used in the past. I don't know why they're so opposed to putting on a rubberized coating. There are, of course, some like inbox extras with Gwolves. You get some grips, extra skates. You also do get a sticker for the bottom of the mouse to prevent dust and the scent of the ocean. But yeah, back to the coating. I didn't find it to be bad or slippery, and if you do, you can obviously throw on grip tape, but I was kind of surprised just using this mouse stock that I was not hating it. I did, of course, throw on some X-Ray-Pad Jade Air dots. They perform pretty well. And yeah, what Gwolves does with the completely flat base is just very good for like skates. You can pretty much just throw on whatever you prefer. So that kind of covers all of the features on this mouse, and I'm stuck on whether I give the mouse the seal of approval or not. Because on one hand, this mouse does have some issues, like the side button quality, the lack of a rubberized coating. Gwolves customer support has scared some people off from buying the mouse. But on the other hand, this is a product that I had a really good experience with. Shape and the weight, I really feel like are second to none. The shape will be, of course, a hit or miss depending on how you grip and your hand size. But I think it's actually nice. It's refreshing to have something that just isn't a Final Mouse clone. at the like sub 35 gram weight range. The sensor position is also unique. It's towards the front of the mouse. A lot of these other mice at such low weights, they have like more centered sensor positions. ATK mice have notoriously kind of back placed sensors, so that does add some value for people. And it's just another unique thing. I feel like, yes, this does have everything that comes with a Gwolves mouse, but it's also just unique. It's kind of a breath of fresh air in the market. I do think they took a lot of risks with the design of this mouse. I think more or less it gets the job done. So I will give it the seal of approval, but it's not the #1 small mouse I'm recommending. And yeah, if you're somebody who's just chasing the lightest weights, let's say you don't like the final mouse shape or you enjoyed the hati-S shape in the past, I think that this is one of the top mice on the market in that category. It follows the Rocket Jump Ninja fingertip principles. It's got low buttons. It has a thin grip width. It's just a very easy mouse to like maneuver, in my opinion. But yeah, definitely at $140. There are definitely better values to be had, and this is for a specific type of person. But yeah, that's all. If you have any other questions, let me know in the comments below. And yeah, that's going to be all. I think I'm going to make a best small mice on the market roundup video sometime soon. But yeah, that's all. Peace out.